Hello, this video was requested in a comment, and since I already had a battle of the sort the commenter was requesting, I thought I might as well post a battle. Now, this is an instance where I was able to use this build to decent effect. I'm not always able to. Pikes are very difficult to use effectively against skilled opponents. They are unreliable, die quite easily, and against an opponent that knows what he's doing and how to avoid them, they are very lackluster in performance. But here we go. The battle is Carthage versus Rome. My build consists of 3 Carthaginian cavalry, 1 African war elephant, 6 African pikes, 3 mercenary Iberian swords, and 6 Libyan Peltasts. My opponent has, from what I can see, 3 auxiliary Syrian archers, always dangerous, avocatis, 3 of those, 2 triarii, 2 legionary cavalry, 2 gladiator spears, 2 hastati, and on this map there's usually something nasty hiding in the woods. So I am going to move my entire formation up, because this is the type of formation that needs to work in tandem to be able to have any effect at all. So the pikes in themselves are easily avoided, but if the enemy is peppered with javelins while he is busy avoiding pikes, then it can work pretty well. My opponent outranges me. I have many more skirmishers than he has, so hopefully I'll be able to close the distance and bring the pain. I'm just going to fast forward. He's hiding some troops in the forest here. I'm putting my guys in phalanx, and going to fast forward even more until the engagement starts happening. So he's sending his skirmishers into this forest here. So I'm going to try to push him back with my cavalry, because I don't want him firing at my vulnerable units. So before they really can get many shots off, I'm chasing them away, and you can see he used precision shots, so it was good that I was able to chase them away while they had precision shot activated. So I'm feinting, pulling back away from these gladiator spears, but this has allowed me to close the distance and bought me some time. And here you can see one of the redeeming features of the Libyan Peltasts, throwing their javelins and then taking the charge very well for a skirmishing unit. So they'll be able to hold here for a while until I'm able to bring in the pikes and bring in some support for them, which is going to be important. Now, since I have so many units, I can just keep pushing forward with the Libyan Peltasts. Throw some javelins at these gladiator spears. Don't have the best armor, so they are very vulnerable to missile fire. Pull back these guys and throw javelins with my, or soliferums with my mercenary Iberian swords, and push the pikes up. So ideally this is how you'll use this army. It's draw the enemy in with skirmishers, make him follow you, push the pikes up, shoot at the enemy while he's avoiding the pikes, and so on. So ideally that's how this build works. The legionary cavalry is getting swamped here, and the Libyan Peltasts didn't lose too many men, although they were charged, so very durable unit. The gladiator spears are getting shot to death and killed by these pikes, and now there are fewer Romans on the field than there were a few minutes ago. So I'm reforming my lines here, chasing after this legionary cavalry to finish it off. I still have these Syrian archers to consider, and evocati are always a tough nut to crack. I have these African war elephants that can also be very useful in a pike build. Chasing after his legionary cavalry, but he's going to be able to rejoin the rest of his forces here just before getting charged by my Carthaginian cavalry. So I'm giving the order to turn back a bit too slow, so I'm going to lose a few guys. Here his Syrian archers are starting to bring the pain. I'm going to push up my pikes and push up my peltasts, and the peltasts are going to kill quite a few of these Syrian archers. There we go. Going to kill some of them with every volley. Just need to be mindful of these evocati. These guys are being shot down by javelins, and now you can see the killing potential of the Libyan Peltasts. My opponent has to push forward because his archers are being decimated by my Peltasts, and his Triarii also taking some damage. And I think he charged forward, saw the pikes, and decided he needs to go around the pikes. And this is the whole point of this type of build, making the enemy walk around your pikes while being shot in the back and in the flanks by these javelins. Still, these are evocati, they will take ages to die, so I'm peeling off 2 units here. I'm trying to scissor the evocati in between pikes, but still it's going to be very hard to get any decent amount of kills with javelins. Here I was able to find some evocati, and I'm just going to annoy them a bit with my mercenary Iberian swords, keeping my elephants out of the battle for now, sending them around the flanks. And over here, because a lot can hinge on the elephants in this type of build. You need their killing power badly. So the evocati, having run around, are now getting close to becoming combat ineffective. But they are going to push my Libyan Peltasts away from these pikes. And I didn't manage to turn around these pikes in time, and I didn't want to in case he saw it and charged in here. So I'm just going to swamp the evocati with these African pikes and these Libyan Peltasts, charge in the Libyan Peltasts, and hopefully they'll be able to finish off the evocati cohorts. Now slowly the Romans are dying, but it's still fairly even. I'm losing some men, he's losing some men, he still has his Syrian archers, and they're racking up a lot of kills here. But still, I'm making sure that I'm shooting at the Libyan Peltasts that are running out of ammunition, or that have very little ammunition left. You can see not the highest amount of kills on these Libyan Peltasts, but pretty decent on most of them. The important thing is that my opponent is focusing fire away from my more important units, like my African pikes and my elephants, because he's focused on shooting on the Libyan Peltasts, and there are a lot of them. So over here, pouring some more fire into the Syrian archers to reduce their killing potential further. He's able to pull away, and this is of course the disadvantage with having javelins. The range is very low. But here I'm able to surround this Triarii unit and stop them, which frees up my pikes. Pretty useful to be able to send the Libyan Peltasts in and not have them die immediately. And tying up these Triarii is going to be extremely important. It's going to allow me to shift my entire pike line over here to block and hem in these units. He's starting to use, I believe it's flaming shot on my, no, he used war cry on my African war elephants. Not going to matter much. They have a decent morale, and this enabled me to hold the pikes holding it from the front here, enables me to send in my African war elephants to the rear and really bring the pain. He's sending in some Triarii, which means I'm going to run my elephants through them since they're on the move. Here I'm using my pikes to just pin the evocati and finish them off with the elephants. Evocati are extremely difficult to kill in melee, but using elephants like this is one of the most effective ways of doing it. Chariots can be even more effective. So now the elephants are killing evocati extremely quickly, being hammer and anviled against these pikes and the elephants. The Libyan Peltasts are losing this battle against the Triarii, but they are taking them down. But keep in mind I have 3 units against 1 here, and they are also attacked in the rear. Still useful. Over here I'm just trying to push away these evocati and try to lure them in so I can attack them with my elephants. See, the elephants have finished off this unit of evocati and this unit of evocati. They are quickly approaching 400 kills. Threw a guy away there. And they will get quite a few more kills by running through units like this, so very useful. If I lost my elephants here, this would be very difficult. I probably wouldn't have been able to grind it out with the Roman infantry. I'm sending in my pikes here, not getting a whole lot of kills, trying to protect their flank with my Libyan Peltasts while using these mercenary Iberian swords to kill the evocati cohort. So that's the way this type of army works. You have holding forces and you have killing forces. The pikes are primarily holding forces, and the javelins are killing forces together with the African war elephants. However, when the Libyan Peltasts have expended all their ammunition, their role changes to holding forces. So the killing forces can have more of a free reign, and they can make the other holding units like the pikes hold for longer. You can see they only have 29 kills here, but still it's going to enable me to pin a unit in place and set it up for some nice charges by other units. So the Evocati facing the wrong way there. That's going to give my elephants some kills on them. Yep, there we go. Over 500, approaching 600 kills on the elephants. And over here in these huge blobs, I'm sending in guys from all sides to finish off these Evocati. Pikes are struggling with them because pikes aren't able to push forward very effectively. I'm constantly giving move and attack orders here to try to make them be a bit more aggressive, but it's very hard to do with pikes. They require a lot of micromanagement. And here his units are wavering all across the battlefield, and that's the end of the battle. So the Libyan Peltasts did a very important job here in both in killing, although their number of kills not really stellar compared to, say, the elephants, but they were able to support the engagements fairly effectively, reduce hit points, and probably most important of all, they took a lot of this Assyrian archer fire, and they were able to inflict important casualties on the Evocati cohort that were trying to outflank me and move around the flanks. Now this type of army, it's quite risky to use it because it has a lot of vulnerable components, and it doesn't really have punching power in that it can take armies head on, and it kind of requires your opponent to make a few mistakes in order to work. So it's kind of difficult to use, but it's a fun army to use. It's fun when it works, and when it doesn't, it can be quite frustrating. But I hope you enjoyed that video with the Libyan Peltasts as one of the more numerous units on the battlefield, and I'll catch you again later.